In this episode, I'm joined by Tulku Yeshi Rinpoche, Dzogchen Master, author of over 15 books, and teacher of Tibetan Buddhism. Tulku Yeshi Rinpoche recounts his nomad upbringing in Amdo, Tibet, including his family circumstances, the early education in his local tent school, and more. Tulku Yeshi Rinpoche recalls the spiritual influence of his mother, his rigorous religious education under the Mahasiddha Lama Tamcho Gyatso, and the early signs of his being a Tulku, a reincarnated master. Tulku Yeshi Rinpoche also describes his love of books and reading, and how the circumstances of his early life have shaped him today. So without further ado, Tulku Yeshi Rinpoche. Tulku Yeshi Rinpoche, welcome to the podcast.
Tashi Steve.
Well, I'm delighted to be talking with you today, after having read your autobiography, A Modern Liberation Odyssey. Very interesting book indeed, and we're going to talk actually today about your life story, as well as some other topics later on. So in A Modern Liberation Odyssey, you write, I was born in the summer of 1969 in the southern Kokonor Lake region of Amdo, Tibet. The day that I was born, the village people saw many rainbows above our family tent. They saw this as an auspicious sign that a Tulku had been born. And you write a little later, at the time of my birth, our family lived in a small community of tent dwellers, situated in vast grasslands surrounded by mountains. Our family tent was handmade by my mother. She carded the wool from our yaks and sheep, hand-spun it into yarn, and hand-wove narrow strips of sturdy fabric that she sewed together for the tent material. Down the middle of the tent's roof was an opening, about a foot wide, that allowed the stove smoke to escape. The stove was in the center of the floor, inside the tent, dividing the women's side from the men's side. Our living space in the tent was about 25 by 30 feet. So this is your description of where you were born, in Amdo there. You know, I have a stove too, I don't know if you can see that. On the boat, but sadly no tent. So I'm curious, could you say something about your family, where you were born, and the circumstances of your childhood?
Yes, already you read some of those sentences. I was born in eastern Tibet, which we call Amdo. It's a big region and also very beautiful region. And historically, like 1,000 years ago, between the Tibet and China, there are lots like war. Also, there's like a very good like a relationship because the business, the religion, and culture. Also, the Mongolians too. These three, different like race or the people: Tibetans, Mongolians, Chinese. In Amdo, we have lots beautiful mountains, lakes, rivers. Also beautiful. My birthplace. So we have beautiful like a desert, like around this desert, like hundreds of miles. I was born, as my book said, the middle of the Cultural Revolution. Everybody was busy for, how to say, like a study, Chairman Mao's The Red Book, and non-religious the materials, no statues, no temples, no the Dharma texts, no malas, nothing. It's totally zero, of the religion and zero of the like traditions. Even the traditional Tibetan and Chinese cups, bowls, all of them also gone. It's totally gone. So when I was born, everybody just dreaming like a nightmare, but still a lot of people, they practice Dharma. They they're very, very be careful, but still there's some opportunity to practice Dharma and meditate. Like my mom, she was amazingly good practitioner. And so, yeah, look, there's different circumstances, but still people keep this treasure, the within treasure, the beautiful culture and religion. So it's very clear in my book, where I was born and what happened that time. Then my uncle, my mother's brother, Great Master, he visited me the middle night because he couldn't visit the daytime because he was a Great Master. So the middle night he visited me for a couple, maybe like 10, 15 miles, maybe 20 miles away somewhere. He gave the blessing. Yeah, that's my, the information of my birth. And when I grew up, I became the little nomad boy. We had a few yaks, sheep, and horse, dog. Sometimes we had like a little cat. Every single family was poor, very, very poor. But still, we have, some food for eat. I don't remember any day I was like, hungry or thirsty. Still, there's some enough food because parents work so hard, work very, very hard. That time I didn't know what is like a Tara, the Buddha, Guru Rinpoche. But still I can see every single day my mom, she was practicing, chanting, reading. Sorry, not reading, like chanting. Because before the communism came to Tibet, she already memorized some sutras, like Gurintara Sutra, the three categories, the sutra, the sutra of confession, and then many mantras, many different mantras, and then some long life prayers of some local masters. And sometimes she light very tiny the bachelor lamp. It's very, very danger. If someone saw, someone report, she got big trouble. But she do this every single day. So I influenced, by this religious mother. Father was monk before communism came, but when I knew him, he has some position, so he couldn't practice like normally, like my mom. So he should kind of like protect himself and his family. And yeah, my first like statues, or it's the charming mouse statue, tiny or big ones. And my first, like the books when I saw in my life is also Charming Mouse books, and then the Prime Minister, the Duanli, and the General Tudai, their books, and then Marx, Engels, Stalin, and Lenin, their books translated into Tibetan language. So no matter you can read or not, you must study, you must read, you must listen, you must memorize at least a few paragraphs from those books. So 99% the Tibetan people, they had no idea what that means. Even it's a Tibetan language, but it's totally different vocabularies, the new vocabulary from the communists, so only people, the local people know some of the Dharma vocabulary, Okay, they had no idea those the politic vocabularies. But they have to read, they have to study. My father had a job once a week. He, called the local people to my family tent, and he must read the newspaper, like after dinner. So when we, finish or start, it's almost middle night. So nobody had watches. Just they look at the stars. Oh my gosh, it's middle night. Already, more than half people already sleeping. I can hear the snore, but my father still should read. So very interesting. It's so interesting and very, very fun because we, just nomad kids. We didn't know much what happened to Tibet or what happened to Tibetan people. We didn't know. Just so look, it's like that. My early child life like that.
And quite early on, you showed promise in terms of reading, memorizing, and so on in your village tent school. Is that correct? In 75, yes. When you were 7, in fact, your mother nominated you to go to school. Could you say a little bit about that first tent school, what it was like, what you did there, and so on?
Yes. This tent school, this tent made by, I think, cotton. It's cotton. It's cotton, and the white only can maybe like 13 kids, around 13 kids, and one teacher can sit down inside. Also, it's a move. It's move with the nomad people because we seasonally move. So morning, I think around 9:30 to 3:30. Every morning when I went to school, I brought some some food, at least some dry yak dung for make fire, especially winter. And we gather, and then those students, nobody had a book. Only the teacher had one book, one pen, or one, just that's all. And I think only he had two books. So one language, one is a math book. That's all. So he taught us Tibetan alphabet and the numbers. And then mostly we just played there. And sometimes he told us the story of those the communist, the leaders, the Karl Marx, Engels, Lenin, Stalin, Chairman Mao, those stories. And then we just hike. Sometimes summer we just hike and play. It's so enjoy. It's a very, very it's a very, very it's happy time. Very happy time. And I remember sometimes if we play here and there. Once I saw there are small stupa sometimes already broken. It's from that a place, a lot of tiny, this much the clay, something made by clay, this much, a lot. And we just play with them. We have no idea what is it. Then when I came home, I asked mom, then mom said, they're cha-cha. Cha-cha, they're Buddhist. I have no idea who made it, what those. But my mom say, respect them. You cannot, jump on them, and you cannot break them. Just leave them just there. They're very important. Also, she said, don't bring it home. We got trouble. Just live there. Just live there. So this school, I learned the Tibetan, the reading and writing, and some numbers. for my 7 to 9. 7 to 9. It's only a couple months, summer, a couple months, winter. And but it's helped a lot. Sometimes my teacher, he was busy because he should go like, the village to village, read those German mouse, read book for the local people. That's his another like job. He was also a former monk. Before communism, he was a monk too. That's why he can read. So those kind of people like become teacher or treasury, town leader, yeah. So because they can read a little bit. So very, very kind teacher. So like even now, every morning when I pray my gurus, first I pray my parents. Secondly, I pray the language teachers. My first guru, they're my first guru. They opened my wisdom channels. So without their blessings, there's no way to receive the blessings from the spiritual masters. No way. So this is very important to recognize or remember the language teachers' kindness and the compassion and their wisdom. Very important. So those teachers, they are my very important guru. Very important.
And in 1977, you were selected to go to boarding school based on your intellectual promise. Can you say something about that? That was rather a big change.
Yes, it's kind of a big change. So each year, that school pick up some good students from this 10th school. And once my 10th school teacher asked me, from our school, you are the best, so I want to send you to the boarding school. Do you want to go there? I said, yes, I really, really want to go there. Because already I saw that school, beautiful house, there are a lot of kids there, and I really, really want to go there. And then I told my parents, so what a teacher told me, and they also agree. And then one day, it looked like August. It's a little bit rainy, and then my father took me to the boarding school. I walk, he rode the horse, and keep my my clothes or some distance with him, and then I just walk with him. And I lived there, I think around 5 years with the kids from looks like 9 to 13 something, 14, 13, around 100 kids. We must stay there, 5 months and 5 months, and then 1 month like a break, and then another 5 months. We should stay there, we should eat there, and yep, it's very, very fun. We can learn a lot, and a lot of kids there. Also, there's a lot of, what do you call bully? Yeah, we say bully. Yeah, like child abuse. Look, the elders abuse the younger ones. Many times I got this abuse, but still, I love it. I love that school. We learn Tibetan, some Chinese, math, history, politics, drawing, the singing song, and exercise, especially, one important is exercise. That time in whole Chinese schools or Tibetan schools, every single school, every morning, this kind of boarding school and, high school, college, same. Every single morning, early morning, everyone get up and then in the yard, stand up in line and then do exercise, different exercise, like maybe 8 to 9 different exercises with the the song box. There's the microphone and the song box. Yep. No matter summer, winter, rainy, when snow, doesn't matter. You have to do it. They train you as like a military soldier, and then jog. And once a week we had politic meeting. That time, everyone, like we say, Rangsam doctor, clean your motivation, clean your mind, check your mind. Are you really, really devoted in communism and the party or not? No matter you're like a 9-year-old boy, it doesn't matter. You have to clean yourself. Once our the big house remodel, and when they took the ceiling, we saw beautiful like pendants on those woods. We never saw that beautiful things, and we asked the elders, where did they come from? And then they said, this wood come from the temple. Then I asked my parents, where's the temple? What happened? And then they told us. Around like 20 years ago or 15 years ago, there was beautiful monastery, beautiful temples. And then we, had no choice. Destroyed and then took those woods, a lot of materials, but here and the school. And then the elders told us, respect those. They're very, very, sacred, very blissful. So we boys took some, like, it's cotton, covered the wood, and then they paint. Ancient Chinese and Tibetan, traditional style. So we took some those, beautiful the cottons, and then we kept us with like a protection, because after class, many days we, went outside the school, and then we fight like a gang, different like a different village, the children. So there's different groups you do fight. Really, really badly fight. Like, sometimes in America, the prisoners, there's a gang and, groups, they fight. We did the same thing, 9 years old, 10, 11 years old, those boys. Sometimes we use a real weapon, small knife and some very, very sharp, put it under under the tables, and then, yeah, so we needed the protection from the ceiling. So very, very fun. Most of the food from the parents and the local people. And sometimes the food much better than the family food. And many the lovely teachers there, Tibetan teachers, Chinese teachers, both. They're so lovely, so lovely. So I learned lots from that school. And also in that school, also the Chinese policy, little bit, open, more little bit, and then we can learn some, like some Tibetan tradition, those culture, like a Tibetan grammar, real Tibetan grammar, because during Cultural Revolution, they changed the Tibetan grammar system too. And like punctuations, those things. Tibetan is a shell. And then there's the begin the letters, Yungu or Uchung. It's come from look like Sanskrit Om. So during Cultural Revolution, you cannot use those. You cannot write those. Even the Tibetan, like comma or Tibetan shell. You cannot write shell. You must use this punctuation or comma. You cannot write like this shell. No, it's like illegal. Look. But late 1970s, then you can use those. Still, the Uchung, the began this, maybe not, but the shell, okay. So that school in my life, it's very important school. I met a very good teacher, especially one teacher was amazing. He was the religious person and very good practitioner, because when he was in university, he made some very good masters before communism. Those masters learned learn lots. Not only the culture, the religion, the Buddhism, philosophy. So they taught him those the religious philosophy practices. So he couldn't publicly say, but individually he can transfer us those informations in messages. So that teacher still, I have some connection with him. Amazing. So I think that's it from the teacher. One cause of how I joined the monasteries, these things. So that's boarding school was very important in my life.
Do you remember the first, I suppose, Buddhist idea or fragment that caught your attention, that was interesting to you?
Already I mentioned my mother. So since she was, she woke up, she started chanting and practice. And then whole day long, no matter she's working or, walking, whatever, her hands, her feet busy, but her mouth chanting, reciting. And even when she, go to sleep, even she is sleeping, still continually she chant. Unbelievable. This mother, this grandmother. She didn't directly teach or, but indirectly, he taught me lots. And then many times she told us, my brothers, there was monastery, there were monks, how monks' life is so important, so happy. Many times there's nothing, there's zero those things, but still she kind of put the information there lots. And then early 80s, so one by one the local temples, monasteries reopened. Then we saw, wow, those things happen. And my first time visit a big monastery with my uncle and some relatives. Look like 1980, I think 80. Kumbum Monastery, the birthplace of the Lama Tsongkhapa. So that only that monastery left. All other monasteries gone. Because the Chinese Prime Minister Du Anli, by Du Anli's order, some Tibetan temples left, including Jokang Temple, Bodala Palace, and Kumbum Monastery, some of those historically, by his order, his protection. Unbelievable. So the Kumbum, of course, all the monks' houses gone, because all monks, the masters are gone, but the main temples, I think all temples left. So beautiful, because Kumbum is the kind of a border China and Tibet. So the construction and then the tradition, the styles, this mix Tibetan and Chinese. So the temples, even outside, is so beautiful. And inside all those statues still there. Amazing. It's amazing. And then later the local monastery rebuilt. Only like 2-3 monks left. 99% they gone. They die or they kill or they married. So only 2-3 monks come back. So they built small houses. Yeah, and then look, I made this like a new life.
And that was with Lama Tamcho Gyatso.
Yes, then the Lama Tamchi Gyatso came back to our village. He was, like part of our village before communism, but before 1959, but during Cultural Revolution. So he became kind of like homeless. He went here, there, stay here, there. Especially he went to around at the Coconut Lake. There he had some supporters, some like good friend people, good family, like who help him, who feed him. And then early 80s, he came back because the Lamo Yongzar Rinpoche, he started rebuilt the monastery. That's why the Lama Tamchi just come back, and the relatives, the village people, we are his relative. So when he came to our village, he saw me one day, and since then he said, first the local people request or ask, please, master, now look, we start to rebuild this temple and monastery. Please live here, stay here. And then he said, if I stay here, I have kind of like one condition. If that boy can become my assistant, my disciple, I can stay. But my family, the situation is different. Culturally or traditionally, nomad family, at least if there are two women, two ladies, then the family kind of like, how to say, can survive, because we have, the yaks. So especially the female yak, milk and, make a butter and a cheese and a zamba. Those only the ladies who can do. So my mother was sick during that time. And already my elder brother went to another temple, monastery. And he stayed with my uncle, who gave me the name, who visited me when I was born. So now I'm the elder one. So, I kind of engaged. Even I was at that time around, I think 13, 14, 13 and a half something. So already my family found one girl for my wife. Sometimes in Tibet, early marriage is kind of like common, especially this kind of circumstances, special situation. And then the local people told the master, Lama Tamchi Gyatso, it's almost impossible because this boy, he already engaged, kind of, so this family need him. Can you choose another boy? There are some boys his age, same age, also some boys already went to the boarding school. They can read, they can write, and things. The master said no. Only this boy. And then the local people, village people, asked my parents if that's possible. Then my parents first say, no, look, we really will need him, and he should marry as soon as possible. Because my mother need assistant, young girl. And, but they ask again, my parents. And then finally parents ask me. And the first, it's very, very difficult to choose. Very difficult choice. But finally I say, yes, okay. And then, we kept the master, and the local people built a small house for us. And then maybe after half a year, or I don't remember, then we moved to this small house in the monastery, small house, very small house. So I, stay with this great master. This Lama Tamchi Gyatso was realized master, very famous writer and Mahasiddha, like a both. He wrote around like 30 different books. And before communism, he meditated many, like 20, 30 years, many years. So he realized many times he shows, he's kind of like superpower, some, unusual ones. So this Lama Tamchi just changed my life. Amazing. And then the main master, the founder of the temple, very famous master in Eastern Tibet, like really, it's very, very famous master. Scholar and also realized master. He gave like thousands of different, empowerments, teachings. The people from all of the Eastern Tibet and Northern Tibet. And also there's some left masters. Some they are very, very educated. So I learned from them. Of course, the Tantric Buddhism, and then history, astrology, Tibetan medicine, lots of poetry and grammar. 10 years in that monastery. We didn't have any Saturday, Sunday like break. No Saturday, Sunday. Every single day you should study, meditate, memorize. Every single day. That's why that 10 years, made me kind of like educated person, because we never waste our time, never. Since morning like 5:30 to like 10:30, every single day.
Amazing. I'm wondering if you could say something more about Lama Tamche Gyatso and your close experience with him. You were his assistant, very close to him for many years. You mentioned also his superpowers. You write about some of those in the book. I'm wondering perhaps if you could mention something about that, but also your own experience living in such close quarters with this master.
Yes, this master, he's like, how to say, the foundation of practice was very, very profound and perfect, because he started his Dharma life from the renunciation and the compassion. As I mentioned in my book, when he was maybe late 20s, I don't know. Already he got married, he had beautiful wife, a beautiful daughter, and a lot of animals, no problem at all. But after he received the teaching from the Lama Yongze Rinpoche, look like 1930s. So he renounced, he realized this samsara. No matter you have like a temporary happy and healthy life and a wealthy life, but one by one, change. Healthy to sick, wealthy to poor, happy to suffer. Yeah, gathering to separate, agree to argument, rejoice to jealous. Yeah, wisdom to ignorance. So, he renounced this samsaric life. So then he asked his wife and his one best friend, who's a single and a very good man. He asked them, "Can you guys marry and take care, the family? And I want to become a monk and practice Dharma." And they agree. So that's he, become monk, and then he didn't stay monastery long. After received teachings, just departure. So went to the mountains, forests, caves, many of those sacred places. He meditated. So finally become famous, realized masters. And every single day his main practice was compassion, and each time when he saw someone suffer, or he heard someone suffer, or in the winter we make fire, and then the fire, stove become like orange or red because fire. Then he, cry. He say, "In hell realm, countless our mother sentient beings suffer now. So just cry." And he also, many times he told me, respect the karma. And when you eat a delicious food from other people's devotion, trust, belief, it's totally like you eating the very strong poison, delicious strong poison, he said. This is delicious, but this is poison. If you don't practice Dharma well, this can bring you to hell realm. Yeah, and until around like 2:30, he chanting and reciting and meditating, and then he started to write the books. It's Dharma, mostly it's like a Dharma song, Dharma poetry. His handwriting is not like very beautiful, but so like deeper meaning there, amazingly. And lastly, when he passed away, he just sit down, we said to-do meditation. Sit down, hands like meditation posture. Yeah, and then for 7 days he meditated. The to-do meditation. After 7 days, then like head down, that means now his consciousness transfer into his guru's mind or Pure Land. Yeah, this master is amazing. Even his name, Tam Chi Gyatso. Tam means precious, Chu means Dharma, Gyatso means the ocean of precious Dharma, Tam Chi Gyatso. And my name, I remember when my master gave me the name, Yeshi Gyatso, the ocean of wisdom. When my uncle later asked me, "Oh, wow, your master gave you an amazing name, but this is, kind of like too heavy for you." Because ocean of wisdom, it's a lot. but I'm happy, until now, I'm very, very happy. And so always remember the kindness from the parents, language teachers, Lama Tamchi Gyatso, and then all my other, the masters.
In your book, you recount various signs of auspicious signs at the time of your birth that gave a hint or pointed towards the possibility of your being a tulku. And it was many years later, actually, many decades later, when Tulku Rinpoche eventually did indeed recognize you as a tulku, officially. I believe that's the case, but correct me if I'm wrong. During this period that we've discussed, were you aware of this possibility of your being a tulku? Was that something that was in your mind? Did people mention it to you? Were your teachers aware of this? Or was it something that only came out again later when you met Tulku Rinpoche?
When I was in Tibet, even someone is a tulku, it's very, very difficult to publicly recognize, publicly the throne ceremony. We need lot permissions from county, state, sometimes the government. So it's very, very difficult, very, very difficult. So lots of those tulkus just kind of hide, so sometimes they recognize, very hide, then just live there. And something, happened a couple of times in my early life. I don't know those signs, is tulku something or not, but those, kind of mysteries. Yeah. I think many people, it's happened. The difference is a lot of people, they just ignore, okay, something happened, I don't know. So it's totally the same time in my life too. Some mysteries happen. Some I put in my book, some is not. My Tupchen Dodu, the Masida, he was born in a different kind of different county, and that area historically as more kind of Nyingma practitioners, Nyingma masters there. And where I was born, this place, this county, most of the the Gelugpa school, Gelugpa masters. Even when Nyingma Tulku was born there, there's no one recognize, because there's no Nyingma masters who can recognize you. That's, I think, one thing what happened there too. This has happened many times. And when the around 1990 or 91, since I found Patrul Rinpoche's very famous book, the most famous book, the words of my perfect teacher from my master's library, accidentally when I read, it's totally changed my life. It's totally changed my life, totally changed my life, and I really, really, want to go to east. And there's a famous mountain called Gijil Hamupansen, Three Sisters, the mountain called Three Sisters. And I really, really want to go there and meditate there. And once some my monk friends and the medicine teacher, Tibetan medical teacher, when they went there one summer for the pick the herbals. After they come back, and one of them told me how this Three Sister Mountain is beautiful, and down there lots caves, and then I told myself, yes, I knew it. And I really, really want to go there and meditate there. I really, really want to go there. I want to meditate there. But it's never happened. But later, when the Tulku Rinpoche recognized me, and when I researched a little bit more, and then Tulku Rinpoche, he was born there and he meditated there, and then he went to Kham area and met the Patu Rinpoche, received the Dzogchen teachings and the Longqing Patu Rinpoche, and then he came back and then through Sister Mountain, and then he spent most of his life there and meditated there. Also, when I was around 10 years old, something. When the first time we went to another county, for meet the 10th Panchen Lama, we rode a horse from my birthplace to there around 5-6 days. Maybe third day we arrived close that area, the three mountains, the sisters. Nobody lived there that time because people moved. The nomad moved, just totally empty place there. And once we pick up some the dry yakadans, made fire, and boil some tea, and then we had lunch, and then we must continually go. Yeah, I felt like I knew this place. I want to stay here. I didn't want to go continually. I told my father, I want to stay here. I don't want to go. My father said, no, look, nobody here. What are you talking about? We're going to see the 10th Panchen Lama. No way. I said, no, I want to stay here. Please leave me here. So, whatever. Those some, things like indirectly, there's some messages, some messages. You belong to here. Just come here, look, come back. But until now, I never been there. Look, that's places. So around 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I sent one Lama, my friend, and the Three Sister Mountain, and he took videos, pictures. He went to the real Dzogchen Todo's cave, take pictures. Yeah, that's happened. I don't know. Maybe I'm reincarnation of Dzogchen Todo. Maybe I'm reincarnation of his wife, his son, or his dog. His horse. Who knows? There's some connection, a very strong connection. There is a very strong connection. There's no question. No question. There's some strong connections. Also, sometimes one master can manifest, a lot of reincarnations. Like in General Chenzi Wangpo, 5 reincarnations. Some masters, as we call Gutul Song Tul Tutul, yeah, the reincarnation of body, speech, and the mind. And sometimes Tuji Wazrupopa. That man is kind of like a reincarnation of his raised light, his some part of his blessing or something. Oh, yeah. So past is past, okay. No matter it's, but me, what important is the now and the future. So especially now. If I practice perfectly now, then my future, I can help others and can help myself. Past is past, okay. If I hurt some people or if I help people, both is gone. The good karma, bad karma, both there. So the present, now, the most important.
Fascinating. Thank you. I have a few more questions about this time in your life, but I'd also like to talk about when you traveled to India and continued your education and life there and activities there. There was something that I must ask you, I think, is your love of reading. You wrote in your book, "My father loved books of all kinds, and even though we were poor, he was happy to buy many newly reissued books, both Tibetan and Chinese, which he gave to me to read and to study. He would help me with vocabulary that increased my understanding. He provided me books on topics ranging from the religious to the secular. I read books about Tibetan history, Dharma history, Marpa and Milarepa, and many Tibetan masters. I read the King Gesar stories and many fanciful Chinese novels translated into Tibetan." And in fact, you've gone on to publish, write and publish 14 books, perhaps more by now. Poetry, biography, history, all kinds of books you've written, in fact. Can you talk a little bit about your love of books and reading and the role that has played throughout your life?
Yes. The 10 years at the monastery, already I told you, I studied very, very hard. So kind of like half my Dharma education from that time. And then the half my Dharma education came from the read since I was a young boy, yeah? Because my father, so I read a lot, especially the stories, biographies, and history. And it influenced me lots. Because a lot of people in Tibet, and especially from the monastery, they read only Gelugpa Master stories, Gelugpa Masters books, Gelugpa philosophy, that's all. No more read like Nyingma's Satyakajas. A lot of they do like that. My father, even before I joined the temple, he bought those so all different school masters, biographies, stories. Look, already kind of he taught me non-sectarian. You have to read. Even it's not religious, but the samsaric books. It's influenced me lots. A lot. And at first I never thought I'd become a writer or, but slowly, I started to write and started to publish. Especially when I was in India, Nepal, that time how to say, a website or Facebook, that's not really popular. So I was afraid if I wrote some articles or something, if I don't publish, then it's despair, lost. Nobody can read. So that's I start publish, on the papers, and then the reaction, the people's message, very good, mostly positive. It's influenced me lots, encourage, yeah. So then one by one after one. Because when I was 20s, my favorite things are write the poetry and short stories. Many the Western writers influenced me lots. Like American, Mark Twain, and then in French, there's France and Japanese, the short story writers influenced me lots. So that's why I wrote many the short stories, lots. It also helped me how to become a man, a traveler, and how to become kind of a magician. Really, every person is a magician. You should, show something. then you can survive. If you can not show your things, you cannot survive. Or dancer, every single person is a dancer. You must dance with the mask or without a mask. With the mask means you should tell the truth indirectly. Without a mask, dance is tell the truth directly. Show you directly or show you indirectly. Many times you can show you directly. You must wear mask. So those books, poetry, and movies helped me, influenced me, taught me how to become good dancer, good magician, good traveler. Yeah, and happy teacher, happy person. So later I learned, how to paint, still continually, it's very late. Like I started paint in 2005. I wanted to become like a painter since I was a little boy, but I didn't have chance until 2015. Then since 2015, I started paint, especially summer. It's also helped me a lot in my meditation, concentration. As also like my dance. Sometimes I wanted, paint a tree, but this tree is so ugly. Then I just, like destroy the tree. Then the tree become maybe like a mountain. Okay. If I want like a beautiful like a grassland, but it's so ugly, then I just destroy it. Okay, it's become like a lake. It's many times as it happened. That is a dance. You want to like dance this, but you don't remember something. Then you just make up. Life is like that. Sometimes it's perfectly like goes with your decisions. Yeah, your order. But many times no. You just stuck in the middle, then you should do something. Yeah, that's our life. Our life.
And that period of your life that you spent in India was full of those kinds of situations, unexpected situations, surprising events, it seems. Could you say something about your travel to India and your time there, both in South India? Also, you spent time in the period that I'm thinking of in Nepal, Dharamsala, etc. Can you say something about that period of your life?
Before I, crossed the Himalayas, some of my Dharma friends, they already, went to India and sent some pictures and from the photos, look like it's beautiful. It's very clean and a lot of flowers, no winter, look like the weather is perfect. And I really, really wanted to go there. There's some reasons. Number one is, the Lord Buddha was born there. So, Bodh Gaya, Varanasi, Lumbini, lots of those holy places. And number two, and then I know there's the different masters there, lots. In my birthplace, I can stay only, look at this, small monastery and then 2-3 masters, that's all. If I go like outside this, world, different world, I have kind of more chance, more opportunity. Then I, decided to, go to India. That time I didn't know anything about Nepal, almost zero. Even I didn't know like a Bodha Nath Stupa, I never heard, I think. Of course, Shambhunath, I never heard. So only the India. But when we crossed the Himalayas, first we arrived in Nepal. So we stayed there a couple of days and then we went to India. In India, I stayed different places, South in India, Northern India, Eastern India, many places. for my pilgrimage and for study. I met different masters, especially when I moved to Nepal. Nepal is a small country. It's so convenient. You can visit many different schools from different schools, many different monasteries from different schools within a couple of hours. It's very, very convenient. And I love the Nepal weather. So it's beautiful, not too hot, not too cold. Perfect. Perfect. And so how to say, very, very religious and so colorful. Kathmandu is so colorful, very, very colorful. There's so many temples, like Dharma shops, stupas, a lot of Buddhist people, and the tourists from around the world. Every single day you can see tons of different people. And then I met more different masters there. It's helped me lots develop or improve my Dharma life and my just samsaric life, both. So I wrote a lot of the articles, short stories, poetry in Nepal, lots. So because it's the environment, this of course is like a combination of samsara and nirvana. So there's lots of idea, a lot of informations. Kind of like the Wi-Fi is so good. So I can do a lot. It's totally changing my life, in my life in Nepal. That's also I came to America too. If I was in Nepal, maybe I just directly India to go back to my country, Tibet. That's all. Maybe I'm just in Tibet. Maybe I'm stuck there somewhere, or maybe I can travel a little bit more. I have no idea. But Nepal changed a lot. Even 1,000 years ago, Tibetan, the masters, the translators, most of them first they stayed like at least half a year in Nepal for learn the environment, the weather, and the food. Then they go to India. So Nepal is a very important place for the Tibetan people. Very important because it's between Tibet and India. And also it's a very, very religious country, both Buddhism and Hinduism.
Well, Tulku Yeshi Rinpoche, I think we are soon to be out of time. Mm-hmm. This has been so fascinating. I would love to record a sequel with you, part 2, where we can talk more about your time in Nepal and India. There are many interesting things that occurred there, and also your move to America. Also, there are lots of themes relevant to your work and to your travels and teaching that I'd like to ask you about also. So perhaps, if you're willing, we could meet again to record part 2 and continue this conversation.
Absolutely. Yes. I'm very, very happy. Very, very happy to do the part 2. I'm so thank you for, interview this about my life. Still my English is very poor, but I can communicate a little bit, so I can tell my stories and my thoughts a little bit. So I'm very, very happy to see you next time again.
Well, this has been very fascinating. Tulku Yeshi Rinpoche, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Steve James, thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to another Guru Viking podcast. For more interviews like these, as well as articles, videos, and guided meditations, visit www.guruviking.com.